Here's a tutorial with a simple rule to help you prevent losing a game that can easily be drawn. The rule is shown here. Let's assume in this case it's white's turn to move, and let's look at the three possibilities that he has. Here's the three choices, but only one of these squares will draw. Two of them will lose the game. The rule says, if possible, get the kings into opposition. So we would move the king to this green square. If we couldn't do that, we'll see some of those examples a little later, then you would move the king in front of the pawn as close as you could. In this case, both those rules end up with the same move. Now black only has a couple of moves, so he doesn't lose his pawn. Let's go and move him right there. And now what should white do? Let's follow these rules. If possible, get king opposition. That would mean moving the king right over to this square here. But that's not possible because it would put him in check with this pawn. So he can't get opposition, so now move the king in front of the pawn. Moving the king to this square will end up losing. Moving it to this square will end up losing. The rule says move it in front of the pawn. So right here. Now black may try to do this, and we go back to the rule. Can you get opposition? Yes, you can. And what's black going to do? If he does this, our rule says get opposition. Well, we're already in opposition. Move the king in front of the pawn. And now you will have a stalemate. Black will move here, and it's a stalemate. Let's see how we proceed with other moves by black. So our rule here for white who's moving is get kings in opposition. So this move. Suppose black moves here. We follow our rules. Get in opposition if possible. Otherwise, king in front of the pawn. We can't get opposition, so we go in front of the pawn. Well, this king may move right here, as we saw before. What are our rules? Get king opposition. Okay. Now, black knows if he moves the pawn here, he's going to get stalemated. So suppose he's tricky, and he says, well, let's move back here. Okay. Well, now what do? Do you go here on this white square or here on this dark square? What's the rule? Get king opposition. If you go here, you're going to lose. I can show you that in a little bit. But if you go here, you're going to draw. And you can just keep following these rules no matter what black does. If black goes here, what do? Get king opposition? It's not possible because of that pawn. So you stay in front of the pawn. And if the king comes down here, same rule, king opposition. And if he does this, what's the rule? You can't get in king opposition because you're already there, so you got to move in front of the pawn. And now you will get stalemate. Sometimes following these rules won't lead to a stalemate, a draw. But if you follow those rules and a draw is possible, you can get the draw by simply following this rule. So we know white to move here can get a draw by following these rules. What happens if he doesn't follow these rules? Well, let's find out. The rule says that white should move here in front of the king to get opposition with these kings. But let's suppose he doesn't follow the rule and moves here instead. Now black is going to win this game. He's going to take his king and move it here. And now, no matter what white does, if white tries to follow the rules, he's still going to lose. The rule would be get king opposition. Well, he's already there. Move the king in front of the pawn, so he's got to move here. And now, black simply pushes the pawn. And now this king has nowhere to go except here. And this king will come down here. And as you can see, white is going to promote this pawn to a queen. Give this rule a try under scenarios that you like, and you'll see that this simple rule, which is easy to remember, can help you get a draw instead of losing the game.